Hello and welcome to the Lyman Wolf podcast. I am your host Raceland, and I'm joined today by my co-host Nate. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. We got another episode like normal, and on today's podcast, we're going to be doing something we've already done once before, and we are going to be creating a video game. We did a podcast on this once already, and we made our own video games, but this time I decided we're going to make a second video game, completely separate from the first one. It's just because we had fun with it. I had fun with it. Didn't you have fun with it?
Yeah, it was an interesting exercise.
I think a lot of people like the idea of having creative freedom and just making something up like that. So that's why I know you love doing stuff like that. You're a guy who loves creating things. So I figured this would be right up your alley, especially for a part two.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of took that idea and ran with it for this one.
So I guess we'll just go ahead and just get started. We're going to pick a franchise that we would like to see get a video game adaptation that doesn't already have one, or if we want to create a completely different style game from a previous adaptation. So I figured if you say you want to make like a video game that's already existed and you want to have a whole different take on it, that kind of thing would work.
Yeah.
So let's get started. You want me to go first, or you want to go first this time?
You go ahead and go first.
Alright. So my video game is something that I've recently gotten into. Our buddy Ty has got me introduced into this franchise, and I decided, hey, this should get a video game. And that is the Scream franchise.
Okay.
I'm going to be creating a Scream horror mystery game.
Alrighty.
What I mean by that is, it's basically I got a couple different modes to play in this game. The setting is going to be on a college campus setting. You're just a new student on college campus. I think this was a Scream 2. Yeah, Scream 2 took place on a college. So it's
no clue.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of like that. You're going to just be a new student going to college, and all of a sudden some mysterious deaths are happening. Ooh. And you end up being targeted.
Okay.
So I did a little bit of research about the Scream franchise, and it looks like from what I found, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, point it out in the comments. The only game that's ever come out in the franchise that I could find was a mobile game in 2011. And it was during the Scream remake that came out in 2010. Is it 2010? Yeah. And this was a game that followed it. This is the game that I'm creating, though, is mostly going to be a multiplayer game. But there is going to be like a short story. Like a short story mode.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and get into the story mode first, since it's a shorter thing. So if you decide to play story mode, in story mode, you're basically going to be playing you're going to be playing an original Scream story. It's kind of like its own miniature movie.
Okay, so you can kind of get caught up in what's going on.
Yeah, so you understand the format of Scream before you play multiplayer.
Okay.
It's going to be mostly like a Telltale style game.
Okay, I like those games.
Yeah, so a lot of it's just going to be, a lot of story stuff coming at you, and you make decisions. You're going to be either playing, I'm going to make it where you can be a male or female, and you can either be playing a character named Ethan Price or Tabitha Price. They are brother and sister, and they're going to be going to college in Windsor College. If you don't know where that is, Nate, that is the college campus in Scream 2.
Okay.
The main character is going to be the main target of Ghostface as he tries to hunt you down. As the main character, you have to survive at the school as you interact with students, teachers, and various other staff at the school, and try to figure out who the killer is by questioning characters and finding out various clues around campus. So basically, you need to question people as you play while trying not to die, basically.
Yeah. Quick question. So are these characters that you'll be playing, are they original characters for the game, or are they from the actual movie?
No, they're original characters I just made up for the game.
Okay.
I just made a brother and sister pair. I just made some names up. You have to choose choose your own adventure type dialogue. So as you question characters, your choices will change depending on what you pick. So the game will change as you play. If you pick the wrong choices, you could be lured in by Ghostface to your death. But if you make the right choices, you could get clues to figure out who the killer is. So it's going to be a simple telltale, like you're going to have multiple endings depending on what your choices are.
I think there is a game that is very similar to what you're describing.
Is there?
That would lend to... I can't remember what it's called, but it had... like, it's something about Wendigos or something. It was a really interesting idea, and I think this has about the same potential. It's a very interesting concept.
Yeah, I figured just like... the main reason is because I like Scream now. Like, that's a good movie franchise, and seeing a video game adaptation, I think, would be really cool.
Yeah.
So the very last thing is obviously there are multiple endings and the good and bad based on your choices. So that is the basic of the story mode. It's just a good way to get introduced to the multiplayer of the game.
Until Dawn is what it's called.
Until Dawn?
Yes.
I've never heard of that.
I think you would like it based off of what you're describing right now.
What is it exactly? What's it about?
The description here says, Until Dawn is a 2015 interactive drama horror video game developed by Supermassive Games and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. Players assume control of 8 young adults who have to survive a Blackwood mountain when their lives are threatened.
Is it like Is it like a killer or something?
Yeah, well, I don't want to give away the surprise or anything, but you have to basically figure out what's happening to everybody while also trying to keep people alive, and your choices will either get them killed throughout the game, so the ending is different resulting on how you do in the game.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've only played a few Telltale games. Like, I think I played the Borderlands Telltale. I played a little bit of the Batman Telltale. I played the Walking Dead one.
Yeah.
You've probably played a lot more than I have.
Oh, I've only played 2.
Really?
The Batman franchise and Wolf Among Us.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense about the Wolf Among Us thing.
Yeah. Both of those are franchises I really like. So back to your game. So is the killer going to be the same person each time? Like, is it a fixed character, or is it going to change depending on your choices throughout the game?
No, it's going to be a fixed killer. So your choices are mostly to see if you survive.
Okay.
And obviously to figure out the identity of the killer.
Yeah.
So that is the story mode of my game. That moves on to the multiplayer part of the game, which I said is mostly what this game is going to be. There are 2 different types of multiplayer modes. The first multiplayer mode is victim mode. You play as a third-person, top-down point of view style camera as one of the victims. So it's going to be... Do you remember I told you on a previous podcast that they have a Friday the 13th video game?
Yes.
On the Friday the 13th video game, you play, it's multiplayer, and everybody is a cabin student or whatever, and then one player controls Jason. It's going to be similar to that. So it's going to be, when you go log into the lobby, it'll put randomly, like, however many players there are, and then one person's the killer, but you don't know who it is.
Okay.
It's going to be
so it's kind of like that Dead by Daylight as well.
I don't know what that is, but...
It's the Friday the 13th, but it was more successful.
Okay. So you play as one of the people in the group who is being targeted, and you need to try to figure out how to survive the night as Ghostface tries to hunt you down and kill you. You play the game. You'll interact with a bunch of NPCs and question them to find out who the killer is. So there's gonna be like NPCs like scattered across the college campus that people can interact with and talk to and stuff like that. I figured it's gonna be more of a storyline based. I guess Among Us? Isn't Among Us a lot like that? How you're trying to figure out who the killer is?
Mm-hmm. except instead of interacting with NPCs, you're interacting with the other players trying to figure out.
Well, you can also interact with other players. The NPCs are there to help give clues if you can't figure out who it is. So I guess technically my game is, if you can play by yourself, technically, but it's not as fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Most games, if you get the chance to play with others, it's usually more fun to do so.
Right. Well, actually, I just realized that wouldn't work because if you need somebody else to be Ghostface, don't you?
Well, not necessarily. Well, for the multiplayer part,
I guess if you make like Ghostface a computer or something.
yeah, if you're doing victim mode, then yeah, you could just have the computer be the Ghostface and not know who Ghostface is.
Yeah, that would probably work too. If you can't figure out who the killer is in time, you could be next. Also, if you never know when Ghostface is going to attack you, so you need to be ready to defend yourself. All you'll have is things that you can find around college campus. So you're not going to be like pulling out guns and stuff like that. But you can like go around. What college campus usually has guns unless you're like have a security
must not be
gun?
in America.
Shut up. I didn't want to make the game too easy. So
yeah, no, I get you, but I will say like, so you said guns aren't, but like other defensive items like pepper spray, tasers.
Yeah, you get that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You could find stuff like that if you can get your hands on it. I'm guessing
gas
it's
stations.
well, you're on a college campus. The whole thing is
college campuses probably sell pepper spray and stuff. You got like self-defense things.
That's true. But I was just thinking, like, you have to walk around and you could find, like, break off a leg of a desk or something like that. I was thinking more like have to, like, find college classes style weaponry and stuff.
So you and I went to vastly different colleges because the college I went to, the desk legs were metal.
They are metal. I was just the first thing that popped in my mind. I don't know.
I'm not gonna be able to break that off.
Maybe just throw a desk at your face. Just throw a desk at them.
You could set it to like an era where metal tables and desks and whatnot weren't quite as prevalent.
I don't know. That was literally just a random idea. I couldn't think of anything else.
Tree limbs. You could like run to the sports center, get a bat.
That's better. That's a better choice.
Maybe if you like run to the car park, you could hopefully find your car, get a tire iron.
Yeah.
So I could see potential in that.
Yeah, but the main thing is that you never know when Ghostface is going to attack. You could literally just be talking to another student, and all of a sudden, just Ghostface out of nowhere comes out and tries to kill you. So you have to be ready at all times. So how you win the game is if you could kill or capture Ghostface. Also, if you could figure out their identity before the night's over, you also win. So
just reported to the campus security and
you have to straight up figure out the identity.
Kids being kids, it's okay.
No, that's the three ways you can win in victim mode is you kill or kidnap Ghostface. And when I mean kidnap, I mean like make him incapacitated. So you better like break his legs or something. You better do something or he ain't gonna just give you the slip because he does that a lot in the movies.
Carry a volleyball net around with you at all times. Just like, nope. Just sweep them
It's
up.
like one of what's those classic horror movies where the victim gets thrown into the pool that has the net over top and they just get wrapped in the thing to protect her. Yeah, throw Ghostface in that.
I like how we're coming up with ways to break your game.
I know. This was just a rough idea, okay?
Yeah, no, it's cool. I'm digging the idea, even though I'm not really a horror game.
I'm not either. That's the funny part is I don't like horror games at all. Really, I just think this would be a really cool game for horror fans.
It does seem to draw elements from pretty successful games, even unintentionally. So I do think it has quite a bit of potential.
So then the other mode is Ghostface mode. Obviously, you want a mode where you could play as the killer, because then what's the fun in that, right?
Yeah.
So in Ghostface mode, it's the same as the other mode. You're in third-person, top-down point of view camera, but this is more like a stealth hack and slash type of game. So instead of you just going around questioning people, you get to hide and be stealthy, and you can, when you find someone, it's more of a hack and slash style instead of just pressing buttons.
Yeah.
Another thing is you also need to be able to blend in to other students. So obviously you know which student you are, so you could take off your Ghostface stuff and blend in with other students and then find your next target and stuff like that.
So I'm curious, did you base this off another game? Or did you get unintentionally picked?
No, that part right there I just made off the top of my head right now as we were talking.
So that is Hitman.
Oh, that makes sense. It is kind of like Hitman.
But again, I do think that's a really good mechanic for this type of game. So
I didn't even have that part in my notes. I just was like, oh, that would probably work well.
Yeah.
So to avoid detection in the other students, you would hunt down your victims. So in order to kind of survive, you need to just not be seen.
Yeah.
You get to choose your own adventure-type dialogue choices as you call your victims to mess with them. Obviously, that's the staple in the franchise is you call your victims, screw with them, and then
get to be a troll.
Yeah, you get to be a troll. So you get to screw with them with choose your own adventure style dialogue. The choices you make will change how the victims react as they go in the game. So if you make the wrong choices, then they could go into a situation where they avoid death, and you would lose. So basically, if you make the wrong choices and you're trying to lure your victim, like maybe outside of the room to a certain location, and you pick the wrong choice, and they're like, "No, wait, this is suspicious," or "No, I'm not gonna go that way," and then you don't have a victim to kill and you lose. So you got to make sure you make right choices. But if you do pick the right choices, maybe you could easily lure your victim out there, kind of thing.
Yes. Misdirection and taking advantage of panic is always the way to go in this type of thing, because you'll want to kill your victim, hide the victim in the place that you don't want them to go. When they see that victim, they'll freak out, go the direction you do want them to go. You gotta play 4D chess with your victims and just kill them.
If you're gonna be a troll, you need to be a good troll.
Yeah.
So you win the game if you kill all your targets, and you lose the game if you are killed, captured, or they figure out your identity.
Just all of them come together with a bat and break your legs. We caught the target.
Like, no. I don't know, that's just my rough draft of my game. I was thinking just make it more of a fun mystery-style horror game.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah, that's my Ghostface game. I figured you could literally just call it Scream, the video game.
Okay. I would play that with other people. I don't think I'd play the story mode by myself, simply because I'm not a big horror fan.
I think the story mode would be fun.
It does sound like it would be fun, but just because I'm not really into horror style games, the multiplayer mode, I would play it with friends.
Yeah, the multiplayer mode, like I said, is the draw to the game.
Yeah. But yeah, it does sound like it has a lot of potential. Good fun. I always enjoy an interactive story. So, and you seem to have included that into your multiplayer as well.
Yeah, so it's not just a simple, just kind of like Call of Duty where you just go out there and just shoot, die, shoot, die, shoot, die. This has an interactive mode where you talk to NPCs, talk to other people, try to figure out things. Scooby-Doo for adults. That's what I say Scream is. Scooby-Doo for adults.
Yep. So yeah, but also I would say that based on these, I recommend you trying out some of the games that sound very familiar, because you would probably enjoy them then.
I probably would. I just never. You said Day by Daylight or Daylight?
Dead by Daylight.
That's it.
Until Dawn, and Among Us, and Hitman.
See, my son used to try Among Us, and I just didn't enjoy it.
I played it like once, but by the time I started playing it, all of our friends had already stopped playing it.
Yeah, it's not very popular anymore, is it?
Yeah, you don't really hear much about it.
Yeah. I own a Hitman game. I've just never played it. I think I bought it a long time ago, and I just never played it.
They are pretty fun.
Yeah, they're basically like this. It's just except you're a hitman. You need to go around disguise and kill your target.
Yeah, you're just not Ghostface. You're just a bald hitman.
Boring. All right.
I mean, kind of.
All right, Nate. So let's move on to your game. What game we got?
All right. So my game, I actually forgot that we were supposed to pick a franchise kind of thing. So I just kind of created a whole new game.
Oh, that's fine. I just put that in for people to understand that I don't want to just make a game that already exists kind of thing.
Yeah. So the title of my game is Eternal Quest.
Okay.
And the principle of it is that it basically goes on for however long you want to play it.
Oh, no.
Or until, like, you either have to start a new game because you failed.
A game that never ends? I don't like the sound of that.
Well, yeah, it's a never-ending game, but, like, you would eventually get bored with it unless we kept putting out more content.
Yeah, my attention span is very short, and if it's more than, like, 100 hours, I'm usually like,
Oh, I can almost guarantee you are probably not going to be a fan of this game.
Yeah, I think the most I've ever put into a game was Persona 5 Royal, because that's my favorite game. And including the new game plus, I think I put in 250 hours, and that's like the most I've ever put in a single like story mode game.
All right, so the title is called Eternal Quest. It is a single-player game, no multiplayer whatsoever. Maybe down the road we might think about adding it, but right now we're focusing purely on single-player.
I'm surprised you didn't put a multiplayer game. So you tend to gravitate towards multiplayer games.
Yeah, I'm trying to step outside my comfort zone while also staying within my comfort zone.
And it's kind of strange that I picked a multiplayer game since I've almost always a single-player game.
Mm-hmm. All right, so main gameplay will be XCOM style, like the combat system will be XCOM style. So tile-based strategy, turn-based.
That's what I was saying. Kind of like the one I always refer to is Mario and Rabbids. Yeah.
It has permadeath, just like XCOM does.
Oh no, I don't like that.
Yep. When a character dies, the only way you could bring them back is by save scumming. Which, I'll admit, I am a massive save scummer.
What is a save scummer?
Save scummers are people who will save games constantly, and then if an outcome in the game occurs that you don't like, you'll just reload back to the last save.
Oh, you cheat! Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I don't like that indeed load.
Yeah. Like, that person didn't like that decision? Well, load and pick another decision.
Isn't Fire Emblem one of those games that are really well known for permadeathing?
I honestly don't know. I think so, because some of our friends have talked about it, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
So the setting of the game is a fantasy setting. So, like, medieval kind of thing mixed with kind of steampunk.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I love that setting.
I just added this before the podcast. We will have holiday celebrations. So, live holiday celebrations, kind of like the Arkham games. So, if you visit certain places in the Arkham games during holidays, you would have special interactions.
They did that? I don't even remember that.
Yes.
And I own all the Arkham games. I don't even remember that.
I forget which Arkham game, but you can meet Calendar Man at one point.
That's hilarious.
And he will give you, like, special information on specific holidays. Like an issue during a comic book for that holiday.
That's interesting.
So that's what's kind of going to happen with my game, is that on those holidays, if you log into that game and play the game on that time, then you will have a special interaction, a special event, some kind of thing going on for that holiday.
So real quick, I forgot to ask, in your game, what point of view are your characters? Are they first person, third person? Like, what is it?
So it is going to be a top view third person, just like Mario Rabbids kind of thing. You will have character customization.
Of course you will. It's you.
On all of the characters.
Even NPCs?
Yes.
That's too much, Nate!
Well, hold on. The NPCs won't have quite an extensive one. Like, it'll be more presets. than anything.
You're gonna spend all your time just customizing everybody.
Well, I would, yes, but there's a lot of people who just pick the presets.
That's like me. Like me.
Yeah. We're giving you guys presets so you don't have to do it, but for us custom whores, we will be creating.
Yeah, because you know, when you have a third-person top-down view and you can really see the details in their face, you got to get the right nose bridge and the chin size.
Oh, that does come into
Oh my
play.
God, that was sarcasm, Nate.
So, there are 4 stages of the game. The first stage is the combat system, like I said, XCOM and whatnot. You'll be able to create your characters. First let me go into the synopsis of the game so
we know what the hell is happening.
Yeah. All right, so the synopsis of the game is you create an adventuring team and slowly build that team into a guild.
All right.
Kind of like a manga kind of thing. That guild and that core group of adventurers will eventually become a village. That village, you will then be picking all the buildings that are going into this. So you'll be kind of Sims and city building kind of thing.
Okay.
Your characters will age until they die of old age or until they die out in the field. Permadeath is a thing.
Yuck.
They will be able to have relationships including lifelong friends, rivalries, and marriage. So you will have emotional connections with your characters in between all these characters.
So when they die, it's going to be feeling really good.
Oh yeah, it's going to be heart-wrenching. And this is where the Eternal Quest part comes in. New generations ensure the continued survival of your village. So it will be paramount for you to actually make sure your village is either bringing in new adventurers from other places or having children and raising them to become the new adventurers.
That's too much, Nate.
Every 50 years, a new demon lord will arise. The adventurers have to defeat them. The demon lord's strengths and weaknesses announced in a prophecy so that you will have a chance to teach your new generation of adventurers to be able to take on that specific demon lord. So it's not always going to be the same, like, just have this guy be super strong so he can take them on. You're going to need different tactics for each demon lord, and it's going to be random.
So how quickly does time go in your game?
Well, that depends, because depending on the stage that you're playing. So combat-wise, time doesn't really go by that quickly. If you're playing story mode, then it will go pretty quickly.
I mean, 50 years is a long time.
Yeah, well, no, the 50 years thing is mainly like for medieval lifespans, because in that time frame, people didn't really live very old or very past a certain age point. So stage 1, XCOM style, create your characters, do missions, XCOM style, like that. Stage 2, Animal Crossing.
No.
You'll be able to bring in vendors and whatnot into your village, try to entice them to stay in your village, build buildings for those vendors.
I hate farming simulator games.
You can then also make your village have specialties. So, for example, you can make it a trading village, a village that specializes in mercenary work. So everybody's just former adventurers and whatnot. Farming, whatever. Stage 3, The Sims. This is more the storyline mode. You'll be able to build relationships between your adventurers and the townsfolk, the adventurers and themselves. Just want to focus with the townsfolk, do that, whatever you want to do. But if you focus too heavily, or if you ignore your adventurers too much, that's going to get you a game over. Because the game is you needing to defeat the Demon Lord.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And that's pretty much it for Eternal Quest.
So basically, you have to focus on everything or you lose.
Yes, it is a massive multitasker that you can pause like the timeline, whatever, so that you can actually take time, create characters if you want. You can make decisions and consider those decisions however you want, because your decisions will affect the whole of your village.
My main question with the time thing is like every 50 years. So say you want to play a short, go defeat the Demon Lord. and then you defeat the Demon Lord, then what? Like, you gotta wait another 50 years?
Once you defeat the
so
Demon
how does
Lord,
that work? Is it like you just go back to your village and just play for 50 hours until he comes back?
well, first off, the 50 years thing is not going to be like hours in our timeline. It would be maybe, well, it would be hours, but not 50 hours. It'd be like maybe 5.
Okay,
10
so time is sped up basically in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my question. I didn't know if there was like time skips or stuff like that.
Even when Demon Lord is dead, your adventurers and your guild can still go on quests and play as if you're doing Final Fantasy kind of game.
Yeah, they are very tedious sometimes.
Or XCOM, I guess. I keep going to JRPG in my head, but I'm sticking to the XCOM style game.
No, JRPG's better.
So while the Demon Lord is dead, you can still go on adventures, still fulfill quests, do quests for other villages and whatnot, expand and whatnot.
Well, it sounds like an interesting game. I do think it has the potential to be pretty good. As soon as I heard Farming Simulator, though, I kind of was like, ooh.
Well, the Farming Simulator, you don't have to participate. You can actually put it on a, I don't really know I guess, like, have the robot or AI control that aspect.
Oh, okay, so it's automatic farming.
Yeah, if you want to. But I know that there are a lot of people who do enjoy those types of games.
Not me.
And would want to do that. This is literally a game that I'm wanting to pull in as many fans of as many genres as possible so I can make that money.
One game I remember playing.
That's my entire goal.
One game I remember playing as a kid I actually really enjoyed on the computer was Ages of Empire. But I hated the farm simulating part of it, so I'd always put it like a cheat code in to be like instant farming. Let's go kill them now.
The inspiration for the like building the village kind of thing actually came from an older game that I played when I was a younger kid, Age of Mythology.
I loved that game. That was the main one I played.
Yeah, so
that was the Age of Empires, but with mythology characters.
That was what I basically came up with for the building of your village. And then I just kind of expanded that into, okay, well, I like combat stuff. Oh, XCOM is probably my favorite fighting style in video games.
Is Age of Mythology still around?
I believe it's on Steam.
No way. Dude, I remember I think it was Age of Mythology was the one where you could put a cheat code in to get like dodge vipers with guns on it, and you'd have your cars drive around and kill everybody.
I don't know.
I used that. I remember using cheat codes in one of the Age of Empires games. I thought it was Age of Mythology, where everybody's over there like riding on their like Pegasus and stuff, and I'm over there just killing everybody.
Yeah, I don't remember a cheat like that, but then again, I wasn't really into cheats back in the day.
I was only as a kid. Then I grew up and I was like, oh, cheat codes kind of break the games. That's no fun.
See, for me, it kind of is the opposite. I'm now more of a cheating person now. But only after I've beaten the game.
That's fun. Yeah. So same. I won't use a cheat code if I haven't beaten the game. That's no fun.
Yeah. I want to experience the game as it is first before I decide to destroy it.
You beat the game. How long did it take you? I don't know, like 5 hours? 5 hours? That's a 40-hour game. Cheat codes, bro.
No, man. I'm just that good.
Yeah. I speed ran it.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. Do you have any other questions about my game or your game or anything like that?
So for the Ghostface thing, you said you did have customization options for your character.
Basically, it's like you could choose if you're gonna be a college campus student, you could pick what he looks like and stuff like that.
Okay,
Ghostface doesn't change. He's Ghostface.
That's what I was like, is there any can you change the mask at all?
No. Ghostface stays Ghostface. Maybe he has a cape, Nate.
Maybe no. Change his weapon occasionally.
No. You're gonna stick with this because in the Scream franchise, I don't know if you're that aware of the Scream franchise, but
I watched the first movie.
Okay, so you don't know.
To my knowledge,
after the first movie, the events of the first movie happened. Later on throughout the series,
spoilers in case
it's not a spoiler. This isn't a spoiler at all.
Okay.
They basically start poking fun at it and start making everything be movies Like in the movie, there are movies called Stab 1, Stab 2, Stab 3, that are based on the events of what happened in the first movie. So
supernatural style.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh yeah, we all know who Ghostface is. He's the main character of Stab. And that's what it is. It's like, what do you mean there's people going around killing people in real life like it happened in the events in the first movie? And they're like, oh yeah, they took advice from Stab 2 and now they're doing it that way. That kind of thing. So everybody knows who Ghostface is at this point.
That is so
It's
weird.
meta as hell, dude. It's hilarious.
So are you going to watch the series Scream?
I don't have HBO, or I don't have a Showtime, bro.
It is on Netflix.
It's on Netflix?
I just pulled up the first episode.
No way. Then hell yeah, I will. I had no idea. I thought it was only on Showtime.
No.
Huh?
So you're welcome.
Well, thank you. Well, I guess that brings it to an end. If you have any other things you'd like to say, Nate?
Nope. I think we had some comments.
We actually have some comments. You can check out all of our comments, and you can even comment yourself at our Facebook page. You can message me on Twitter. You got the Discord. It's all in my link tree. You can check it out in the link. What are some of the comments today, Nate?
I thought you had them.
Oh, it's just, I think one of the comments we had was our friend Ty said, put Ghostface in the game.
Oh, well.
Which is ironic that I picked Scream.
Yeah. We both ended up kind of doing it because I will say for the holiday crossover events, Ghostface can appear in my fantasy game.
See, there you go, Ty. We've got Ghostface. That's why when Ty commented that, I just chuckled like, bro, I'm making a Scream video game.
You have no idea.
Right, I was just waiting. I'm like, come on, buddy. Well, that'll be all, folks, for the podcast. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you're interested in more content, you can check out my Linktree, which shows all of our other accounts. If you like this, please think about liking and subscribing. And if you're interested in talking about upcoming topics, please join us at our Discord and Facebook page, which are in the links in the description below. And we'll see you guys on the next podcast.